to know. Oh yeah, we need to show. Listen, watch, and flow. You need to.
I need to know, I need to know, I need to know. You need to know, you need to know, you need to know. We all need to know. What do I need to know? What do you need to know? What do we all need to know? Somebody also sent me a Bible passage, the book of 1 John chapter 1 verse 5 and the book of Exodus 20:21, saying, what can you explain about this? You also say, always says the Bible does not contradict each other, but Bible complement each other. What Bible is saying here that God is always light. That is, God is light. There is no darkness. But in the book of Exodus, it says God is inside darkness. So that means you don't know what you are saying. That means Bible contradict each other. It's very simple. But we need to do some exegesis. We need to do some hermeneutical explanation. So let's go. The book of 1 John chapter 1 verse 5. The book of 1 John chapter 1 verse 5. Bible says God is light. That is pure truth. God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. That is, in God there is no darkness, because God is light. That is what the book of 1 John chapter 1 verse 5 says. If you even read the book of John, it says, and the light shine, and darkness comprehend it not. The book of John chapter 1 downward. So when you now go to the book of Exodus chapter 20 verse 21, Exodus 20:21, Bible says, and the people stood afar, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where God was. That means God is inside darkness. And the book of 1 John chapter 1 verse 5 says, God is light. Darkness, you can't find darkness. But here, Bible is saying, and God was inside darkness. So let's study. Let's put it step by step so that you'll be able to understand what Bible is saying. Don't forget, Bible have its own language. So the apparent contradiction that many people are thinking is no darkness in God. 1 John says no darkness in God. Exodus, the book of Exodus 20:21 says God was in thick darkness. How can God be in light and yet be in darkness? You need to know. Okay? Let's see. The hermeneutical key, that is hermeneutical. Hermeneutical is the Bible, the art of Bible interpretation. The art of Bible interpretation. That is the art and science of Bible interpretation. So when you look at the ontology versus manifestation, this place is talking about the ontology and the manifestation. So the key, the verses speak about different things. It speaks about different things. So the first book of John, that is John 1:5. 1 John 1:5. God's nature. It's talking about the nature of God, who he is. The book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 21, God's manifestation, how he appears. Two different things, but the same person. So that's why I said the ontology and the manifestation. The nature of God, the ontology of God, and the manifestation of God. So let's study it one after the other. 1 John 1:5, God's nature. Greek insight, you need to understand the Greek insight. Darkness, that is moral evil. When we are talking about darkness, moral evil, falsehood, or sin. John is speaking theologically, not physically. John is speaking theologically that God is light. He's talking theologically, not physically. Meaning God is pure, God is holy, God is truthful, and without any moral evil. Because where you see darkness, you see evil. This is a doctrinal statement. This is a doctrinal statement, not a visual description. So when you go to the book of Exodus 20:21, God manifestation. This is not the ontology, but this is the manifestation, how God appears. Hebrew insight, when you look at the thick darkness, it says God inside the thick darkness. What does that mean? It means that thick darkness means Araphel. Araphel, A-R-A-F-E-L, Araphel, means dense cloud. The cloud is so thick that you can touch it. A mystery, concealment, that God is concealed, that it doesn't, so he manifests. God can manifest in anything. That's why he says, I am that I am. I can become who I want to become. The same cloud appears in other places. When you study the book of Exodus chapter 19, when God came to give, what's it called? The 10 Commandments. So there was thick darkness, cloud. Exodus 24:15-18, the book of 1 Kings 8:10-12. So the darkness that we are talking about protect the people. Why? To conceal God's glory. Because God lives in unapproachable light, which is holiness. So why will God appear in darkness? Why can't he appear, excuse me, why can't he appear in light? Why appearing in darkness? Because of human limitation. I will give you three reasons. Human limitation, revelation with restraint, and symbol of mystery. Human limitation, that is direct exposure to God's glory, is very deadly, very dangerous. Nobody, when you study the book of Exodus chapter 33, when Moses says, I need to see you, say, nobody see me and is going to be alive. Just seeing the glory of God alone, nobody could look at the face of Moses. So God lives in unapproachable light. So the reason why God appears in darkness is because of human limitation, because the direct exposure to God's glory is very deadly. Number two, revelation with restraint. God revealed himself without destroying his people. Also, symbol of mystery. Symbol of mystery. God is knowledgeable, knowable. God is knowable but not exhaustible. God is knowable but not exhaustible. That is, you can know God, but you can't know all about God. That's why I used to tell people that miracle is real. It's mystery, but you can't explain it. So when you now look at the passage, 1 John 1:5, the focus is God's presence. The meaning is absolute holiness. The book of Exodus, it talks about God's appearance. God appear in darkness, but that doesn't mean God lives in darkness. It's just appearance. That's why you have to know the meaning of ontology and manifestation. The ontology of God is holiness, light, but the manifestation, it can manifest in anyhow he wish to manifest, so that it will not hinder or affect people that he want to appear to. So the book of Exodus 21 is talking about the manifestation, that is God appearance. God have to conceal his glory, because when you see the glory of God, you can't be alive. So in conclusion, there is no contradiction, my brother. There is no contradiction about this place. God is light in his nature, holy, pure, and truth. God is light in his nature. That is ontology of God. God is light. He lives in light. God is light in nature, holy in nature, pure in nature, true in nature. But God dwells in darkness in his manifestation. God dwells in darkness in that particular scenario, in his manifestation, to conceal the glory, so that it will not consume the people he wants to save. God hides his glory in darkness, not because he's dark, not because he lives in darkness, not because he is too bright, but because God is too bright for sinners to behold. So with this explanation, if you don't see anything to take home, ontology and the manifestation of God. That's what that Bible passage is talking about. God bless you. God be with you. Help us to share, help us to like, and shalom.